RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.
Another set of 2-1 teams that will be getting it on. The Oakland Raiders visiting the Denver Broncos. And these teams have met since October 1960. The Denver Broncos, they lead the Raiders, lead the series 62-51-2. But the Oakland Raiders have been the team this, I guess, decade, have been the more successful of the two in those head-to-head battles. Both teams coming off of losses, and you look at them, you say, at this stage of the season, in week 4, does Mile High really have that much of an effect?
It will this week, I think, because Oakland was in Washington, so they're flying back to Oakland and they're flying into Denver, 2 road games in a row. That's tough, and you run out of gas at Mile High. I mean, teams know how to cope. Oakland's been there before, obviously, so they know how to cope with that. But still, teams just seem to, have trouble in the fourth quarter playing against the Broncos. Oakland's in for a real test because Denver can play defense, especially at home when the noise is really great. It gives those pass rushers a little bit of an edge, and Von Miller doesn't need much of an edge to make an impact. And so far, they have not been overpowering in terms of offensive line. Defensively, they've got a lot of problems. And, Trevor Siemian, is he the guy to take advantage of that? Well, he didn't look like it against Washington, but the first 2 games of the season, he did look pretty good.
And we see that the Oakland Raiders, last week coming off their game, they were 0 for 11 on 3rd down, 1 for 2 on 4th down. But the thing is that the receivers basically just got beat up by Washington's cornerbacks. And so you look at this and you say, can the Denver Broncos do the same?
You saw some drops from them. You saw some drops from Oakland in the week before's game as well, and Denver certainly can do the same. If they were looking at the game film and what Minuski did in Washington, they've got the cornerbacks to do the same kind of thing. Chris Harris, Aqib Talib, Bradley Roby. I mean, they probably got the best group of 3 of anybody in the league. They don't play that much press, but they can play press. And with the pass rush, meaning that Carr's got to get rid of the ball more quickly, that's it's a definite bad combination for Derek Carr. Derek Carr, not David, his brother. And what did he throw for 118 yards, something like that?
Yeah, 100. I think they had 140 yards in total offense, so not a whole lot more than that.
And and he'd had a couple of big games. You expect him to have big games before that, but I think Denver will have looked at that. I think the game plan is pretty simple for what they'll do. Not convinced Oakland's defense is going to be able to shut them down completely. And playing at home in Denver, you have to like the Broncos.
Let's stay with 2 guys. We talk about on the defensive side. Which one of these floats your boat the most? Khalil Mack, Von Miller.
That's a good one. Miller's got a better supporting cast, but I think Miller is probably a more natural pass rusher. He's got a wider set of skills, but Khalil Mack's also a really good pass rusher. Hasn't made the impact so far this season that you would expect from him. And people thought coming out of Buffalo, he would have a big jump to make to the University of Buffalo, not the Bills, and not the city of Buffalo, which is where Kev comes from. People coming out of Buffalo,
gotta be from somewhere.
Yeah, well, people coming out of Buffalo have an adjustment to make to the real world.
That's right.
And
I'm still adjusting.
And Khalil Mack, had a little bit of adjustment, but did. And last year, you expected that he would take the jump to being a premier pass rusher. Von Miller was slowed down a little bit, it looked like, last year. So you'd think he'd be passing him. The guy who so far has surprised me, just to drop a name and we'll talk about later, is Justin Houston, who after being injured for so long, it looks really fresh and new. Kind of like me.
Let's jump to that quarterbacks. I look at Derek Carr, Trevor Siemian, you look at their numbers, really not a lot of difference. I mean, Siemian averages more yards a game passing. They both have the same amount of touchdowns, but Carr has, 2 less interceptions. And, so it seems like to me does one cancel one out, or is Carr that much superior? Because people seem to always overlook Siemian no matter who he's in competition with.
He won't get the credit that he probably deserves. But Carr, I think, has the potential to be an elite quarterback, and I'm not sure Siemian does. he's in a good system for him to play. You know, with a couple of decent running backs. Jamal Charles looks another guy who,
yep.
you know, out of Kansas City who looks brand new. And a decent set of receivers. And Demaryius Thomas, always a big threat. Emmanuel Sanders. So two guys he can throw to. So that can help him out a lot. Pass protection will be a problem for them. The rookie left tackle Garrett Bowles is still hurt. I think he played hurt, but he looked like he really couldn't move.
Yep.
And he's still not. I mean, even if he weren't hurt, he's still a rookie at left tackle, and you know, Khalil Mack will feast on that. And that's where he's going to be attacking, I would assume.
Both teams coming off losses. Which team do you see continuing going to losing the game, but also going to 2-2 on the scorecard?
I think the Broncos win this one at home. I mean, that's you know, Kansas City, do they run away with the AFC West, which seemed improbable at the start of the season? But San Diego's not looking very good. These two teams could both keep up with Kansas City. You know, that division, ideally, they're going to be beating each other, and you know, you might only need 11 wins to win it.
Well, that'll be a tough AFC West encounter.
RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.
Watching SportsHeads. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, but you can also hit us on Twitter, Instagram. We would love to hear from you. We're trying to take the program from next level to next level to next level. Enjoy.